wanted to just talk real quick, little scammer session special. It's going to be about Umar Johnson. And if you guys never heard about him, good for you. That means you're probably educated and get your information through things like books and, you know, things that might give you actual facts and not just BS. The main reason why I wanted to talk about him was kind of the good example about karma, what I think karma is, and just lessons you can learn about dealing with different types of scammy people in this world, you know? If you didn't know already, Umar Johnson is, I guess you can call him an influencer of the conscious community, pro-black activist, you know, section of social media. He got big, I think, around 2012, 2014, mainly when when the first wave of modern, you know, 2010s white cop, black unarmed male drama started happening and going mainstream. All this, you know, white supremacy talk and unfairness and oppression talk was going on. Oh, my dog dropped his little toy. And then at the same time, because of this happening, actually, a lot of black people were kind of leaving the whole church scene, you know, the typical original black church scene. And very conveniently, a group of people were there. Like when you're walking out the church, you could walk right into this conscious community type stuff, which was basically like an alternative for religion in the form of African spirituality. And this black people are really kings and queens and the originators and Kemet, Egypt, Ma'at, all that stuff was going on. And people like Umar Johnson, Tariq Nasheed, Brother Polite, maybe even Nature Boy, just to name a few people, got really big on social media, and they became pretty prominent influencers in terms of people listened to what they had to say. People promoted them. They received money from either fans or sponsors, you know, to whatever, for whatever reason.
I mean, he has an IQ score of less than 70. You're going to contact Dr. Umar Johnson, and you're going to fax or email me your child's psychological evaluation report. Because black boys in America are 4 times as likely as the white ones to be classified as retarded when they're not. That's right. Because the IQ test is racially biased. And the reason why so many black boys...
Yeah, Umar Johnson's claim to fame was that he had 6 degrees, he was a descendant of Frederick Douglass, and he was an expert on, you know, all things education, particularly with how mothers, especially single mothers, can avoid the school to prison pipeline for their black son.
Laid a flower at the grave of the great one, Frederick Douglass, 4 times great-grand cousin, and by most accounts, uncle as well, to the slave master by virtue of rape.
I'm about to answer your question, okay, if you allow me to do that. I am a blood relative of Frederick Douglass. My name is on the family tree. We have a family reunion every 2 years. What they're talking about, and I want to make sure you're clear, they're talking about
Dr. Umar Johnson. He is a doctor of clinical psychology and certified school psychologist who specializes in working with the parents of African American children who receive special education and are diagnosed with disruptive behavior disorders.
As what happens with especially really quick rise, you know, quick fame characters that come on social media and come on the internet scene, things started coming out about him that was like subpar, you know. It was like, what's going on? This life that people are claiming he's living and how he's acting does not match what he says, you know, about being basically like a more high-end member of society, you know, academia. His degrees started coming into question, his 6 degrees, his money, what he was doing with the money he was claiming, because I guess he was saying he was going to raise money for certain things, but those things would never happen. A lot of people were just coming back with personal stories that weren't good about him. There was morality and behavior sketchiness, and, you know, claiming that he was about to get, I think, $2 million from some famous basketball player, but some stripper ruined it for him, and just weird drama, shady drama, one of the big straws that broke the camel's back actually happened, I think, last year. I guess he often recorded some of his lives from a corner, kind of like this, just like a corner in a room. And this corner was filled with, beautiful posters, neatly placed posters of different past black leaders like Marcus Garvey. And it was very neat and nice. And he's wearing, his nice clothes. And he accidentally either dropped his phone so that it flipped over or accidentally hit the flip camera. So it did the normal camera. And it showed, I'll show you, it showed like a disaster of a place. So it's like only this corner was okay. And then this nigga had it was just trash. It looked like an abandoned building from 20 years ago. Just the abandonment and nastiness had just sunken in for decades. That's how it looked. And so it's funny, but it's just ridiculous.
Followers were allowed to see his home, and they were shocked by how filthy it was.
FDMGresumes@gmail.com. FDMGresumes@gmail.com is what we're looking for. My thing is y'all need to. What happened?
It was especially crazy because not only was this guy known to just roast people and get all these little beasts with different people, he also considers himself this high-end person. He's been on the Breakfast Club, Vlad TV. He toots his own horn. He's always talking about what other people need to do to get themselves together and how, trash black people are. If he doesn't get enough money at a certain fundraising event or whatever, he'll go off on black people and say we're trifling and, unfocused and unmotivated and lazy.
Dr. Umar Johnson is trying to build a state-of-the-art school for black boys that y'all all know I need. And after 6 months, I only got $250,000. Trifling ass black people. I'm going to call it like I say it. And I don't care if you get offended. We can handle that outside. We trifling. I should have had that $2 million. I should have had that $2 million 30 days after I started the fundraiser on May the 20th. It don't make no sense.
So to see this happen with somebody who just toots their own horn so much and talks so much crap, it was like, whoa, what is going on here? More and more things were making it seem like the person that he claims to be is not the person he is. So easy to take one tiny little corner of your life and make it look good for a few seconds to a few hours. And then, the truth is your life is a complete mess and you're unhappy or whatever like that. This is extremely easy to do on social media. And he was doing it. And the, difference between, somebody like me doing it and somebody like Umar Johnson doing it is he is getting money from people. He is being depended on as a leader to do certain things for the community, like start a school, an all-black school, black-run school, especially for boys, and he's not delivering. And all this shit's coming out about him to show that he wasn't really probably even planning on doing it. It seems like he's lost. He definitely seems to have lost the upper echelon type people support, like celebrities, wealthy philanthropists, that kind of thing. That seems to be out the window. Then he had maybe a little bit of the middle class, middle to upper class group. They seem to start dropping out as more and more drama and fraudulence kept coming, and less progress or movement has happened with his actual promises to the community. And now it seems like he's just kind of stuck with the most vulnerable people in society, single mothers, uneducated single mothers, young people who don't have a lot of resources or a lot of guidance from their parents, things like this. And so these are the people who seem to be his fans now. I mean, if you look at his content, he basically race baits all day and begs for money. He just does. It's just his content is you can tell who his audience is. It's people, because the tactics, the manipulation tactics, and the speaking tactics he uses, very base level manipulation. Where pretty much most people, I would think, if somebody was talking to them like this and trying to get money out of them, they'd be like, dude, you're scamming. Quit it,
Thank you, Sister Avanti, $10 coming on the Cash App. Thank you, sister. Next time, make it 20, but thank you for that 10. I know you barely had that. Thank you, sister. Next time, make it 20. Next time, make it 20, but thank you for that 10. I know you barely had that. Donations. 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 Donations, donations, gifts, gifts, gifts.
So, he's basically seems to be just struggling now. He bought this abandoned buildings. I guess he was really desperate to prove to people that he was trying to do what he said because he was losing so much support. I honestly believe that he thought that if he spent whatever small amount of money he had left that he was given by the public to buy these buildings and say to show people like, yeah, see, I really am serious about getting a school for black boys, then he would be able to ask for more money. He was going to ask for way more money than he actually needed to fix these schools, and then, you know, of course, pocket the money and then be able to spend money on the school to continue getting more donations. But what's happening is like the money's already been given, way more than most people need. People have kind of stopped. They don't want to give any more freaking money. They've done enough, and with so little progress. You know, he should have gotten way further than he has with the money that has been given to him and the platforms that have been given to him. Like I said, Breakfast Club, Vlad TV. He's really Roland Martin show, where I think he had some kind of issues. Another bad have people given enough money, but so many, you know, negative things have come out about him. Too much smoke for there to be just absolutely no fire, and it's all lies. You know, he's just had way too many problems. Some of them that he's brought up on his own. You know, like the thing with the stripper. Like it seems like he thought that this woman was going to expose him, so he went and tried to like jump on it before she did, and then it just looked really crazy. It was just like, whoa, we didn't even know you were doing that, so what the fuck. You know, if he hadn't actually done it, or at least tried to pretend he hadn't done it, there might have been a chance that, you know, he'd be able to deny it. But, you know, maybe she had evidence that was undeniable. I don't know. But you know, to add more sketchiness to this whole situation, these days, the way he begs, he's claiming right now he needs $250K, right? What person do you know gets online on Instagram Live and just begs for money every day, knowing damn well you're only going to get like between 20, if you're lucky, to $200 a day to get $250,000 of money? It just doesn't add up. It does seem a little bit like drug behavior, you know? So another thing that's come out about him as a rumor, allegedly, is that he might be on something, because that's just, it's just so ridiculous. It's like, that is what like some kind of crackhead type person would do, is like just beg for money relentlessly until you got it, and then be okay with like these little scraps. You know, if somebody really wanted to get $250K for a dream that they have to help people, instead of getting online and just trying to beg daily for scraps, they would form, an organized plan of action. You know, they would go to investors with their plan and state their case, or go get a loan, or just something. You know, he makes the excuse like, well, I don't want to go through the white man or whatever, but it's like, how do you think all of us are getting our US dollars? And they go like, through a black man? Like, come on, you know? So it's like he just wants everybody else to do his dirty work, and he just show up and get it. So to me, it just seems like he is not at all intending to actually do anything to make this school become a reality. Otherwise, he would not do this. Like, he would not make the moves he's making. Yeah, it's a hot mess, child. I don't know why anybody believes him. Honestly, it's absolute madness and drama. Did I mention the whole Frederick Douglass thing? Obviously, he's not a descendant of Frederick Douglass. And I believe even the estate or, representatives of Frederick Douglass have come out and been like, no, he's not. I don't know why he's saying that. Anyway, so just another brick in the wall for the case that Umar Johnson is not who he says he is, and it's extremely shady and fraudulent. Anyway, so we're at today, recently. He does these book signings and meetups still. That's how he gets a couple more bucks. He just came out with like a book, and he had planned to do one in my city, ATL. And, a lot of his detractors, that's another thing. He has like just as big of hardcore fans that he has. He has people who cannot stand him. They are just sick of this one man who has just parasited off of the black community, especially the most vulnerable people in the black community, for over a couple years, it's been like almost like a cat and mouse game of people who hate him trying to get him caught on something, red-handed, so that he can be sent to jail or just whatever, lose full support from even the few fans that he has left. Yeah, he has haters, but it's also, he considers coons and haters people who just question what the hell happened to their hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars over the years that they've given him. They just want to see something, just some progress or some accountability. He doesn't like that. He wants you to just give him the money and shut the fuck up. That's it.
Which is filled with experts from the East Coast to the West Coast, brother.
Okay, brother. I mean, these are definitely the answers that people want to know. They want to.
I'm not interested in people. I'm interested in donors, brother.
Yeah, but in order for you to get donors, though, you're gonna have to
sir,
satisfy
brother.
these.
No, I
yes, brother. And how are you gonna get donors if you don't if I'm
disagree with you?
Listen. If I'm considering to be a donor, but I have certain questions that I want answered, I feel like that's legitimate.
Can I tell you why that's bullshit?
Why? Go ahead, please.
Respectfully. You've been raising money for 6.5 years, brother. If you ain't donut up by now, you ain't donating, and your question don't matter.
No.
Yes.
Ask for an update. Don't ask for a game plan. I mean, these are the things that make it harder for anybody with real money to invest, real power, influence. Because anybody who has that money, they got it by being intelligent enough to be good at business, and they would never just hand over $250K to somebody with no plan, no progress after being given so much money already. It's reported to be over $2 million he's gotten from his influencer status and conscious community leader status. And he just has a lot of stuff going on. The accusations of being addicted to drugs because of his really strange, erratic behavior on his lives.
National Basketball Association is a suspect in Dr. Umar's investigation. That's right. The goddamn NBA is a suspect. As soon as I said that, Mama Oya blew my cell phone off the stand. As soon as I named the NBA as a suspect, Mama Oya, and now the wins is coming. Soon when I said the NBA, Orisha Oya blew my phone off the stand.
Anyway, one of his strategies of getting money currently is to continue his book signings and his meet and greets and have people pay for them. He had one in Atlanta. He was supposed to have one in Atlanta, and some people knew where it was. Obviously, he has to tell people where the hell it is, or else who would show up. Allegedly, the night before his book signing or meet and greet, whatever, this business, I think it's like a yoga center, was vandalized. 4 windows were broken, allegedly. Some people have called, I think, the police department, and they've said there's no such case reported. I don't know what actually happened, but what's been going on is there are some people, nobody thinks it's okay for the most part, even though the one person who should think it's okay is Umar Johnson himself, because he has advocated for looting and destroying businesses because of oppression. So, because he said black people are oppressed, they deserve to do this to businesses. Well, a lot of people have felt oppressed by his bullshit jargon, his really aggressive anti-LGBT, anti-woman jargon, oppressed by his making victims out of so many people by ripping them off and lying to them about his life and about, what he's actually using the money for. I would say that's being pretty damn oppressed. So if he can feel that way, and then he thinks it's okay to irrationally destroy businesses of people who have little to nothing to do with that, this oppression, then I don't see why he would get so mad that somebody would do this to a business he was associated with and he was about to get money off of by holding an event there. So yeah, this is all alleged. I don't know if it's true or not. I get my nails done pretty on that same street, but I'd already gone. So I don't know, and I don't plan to drive to the west side for any other reason. Yeah, so people are accusing some of his detractors of doing this vandalism, this alleged vandalism that we don't even know really happened. There are other people like myself who think there's a chance that either this didn't really happen, or if it happened, maybe Umar or some of his supporters actually did this to the building or had it done to the building to cause more drama. This is not the first time he's done something like this. He has claimed that someone started a fire in his, abandoned school building that he bought, and it seems to turn out to be a fraudulent accusation. He's definitely done stuff like this before. He's also threatened people, threatened his detractors, told his followers to find the addresses and phone numbers and places of work.
Get some of my invited lecture events canceled. I have had enough. And I'm fighting back, in any way I can. Shout out to the Goonie Goons who've been reaching out to me. Kansas City Goonie Goons is ready to do what they need to do. Hold on for right now. All right? My Philly Goons is ready to pull up on him. All right? We're going to do what we got to do. Enough is enough. I don't mind the videos. I can handle that. I'm not thin-skinned. I don't mind the videos. I can handle that. I'm not thin-skinned. But when you start messing with my work, when you start calling the crackers and calling the FBI and the CIA and the State Board and the Attorney General and License and Inspection, when you start contacting white folk to try to sabotage my work, a humble work, by the way, a work that none of them are doing. None of them are doing anything for black folks. You're going too far now. I didn't mind the videos. I can live with the videos. The videos mean nothing to me. But when you go out your way to try to disrupt and sabotage my efforts on behalf of the community, when you go out of your way to disrupt my efforts on behalf of the community, I got to get in that ass. However it comes. However it comes, I need y'all to report this woman known as Anti-Afrocentric. Her legal name is Andrea Stewart. Go on my Twitter, go on my Instagram, go on my Facebook right now. Go on my Twitter, go on my Instagram, go on my Facebook right now. There's a meme. It's the most recent post. It's a meme. I need you to go to dca.ca.gov. 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 And I need you to click on the file complaint link. And I want you to make a complaint against Andrea Stewart. She is a licensed marriage and family therapist. I don't know how a woman who makes videos about one man who she don't know, never met, won't show her face, and has a whole YouTube page with nothing but hundreds of videos about.
A lot of his fans are accusing some of the anti-fraud warriors or just some regular detractors of committing this crime because of things they have said that have been in no way a threat. People who have said things like, I want to ask Umar Johnson the hard questions that he's able to avoid online. I want to go to this meet and greet or whatever and ask him in person. People have tried to turn that around and say that this person actually, threatened to ruin Umar's meet and greet. Everybody is pretty much on board in agreement that it's not okay what happened with the windows, if this even happened. It's not okay to vandalize somebody's property, business's property, especially a black business, since all these people pretty much claim to be, pro-black or at least like a part of the black community in some way. My thing is, this is where my opinion comes in finally, is about karma and something I've learned about karma. There's something called karma that a lot of people believe in. I barely even believe in it, but I do understand cause and effect, and that if you put out consistent negativity, eventually you might have to take a little bit of that negativity back. It might get dished out to your ass. And if you align yourself with people who have been doing dirty to several people, hundreds, thousands of people over a decade period, if their karma, if this person is getting karma, they're just due, their comeuppance, and you decide to align with this person for whatever reason, because you're neutral, because you don't care about all that stuff, because you're just trying to support a black man or whatever, then you need to accept that you might get affected by that person's bad karma. Let's say you know somebody who robbed a bank. You know that they robbed this bank, and you know that the feds are after them. And however, they, wanted to hire you to be their math tutor or their kid's math tutor or some shit like that. And you're like, okay, I don't even care if this person robbed a bank. It's all good. I'm neutral. They didn't rob me, so I'm going to go ahead and do this and go to this person's house and tutor their son. Now, if the feds come and bust down that door and he decides that he wants to go out with a bang and starts, shooting at them and they're shooting back and you get caught in the crossfire, it shouldn't happen to you, right? That's not your fault. You didn't rob the bank. You didn't run from the feds. But because you were basically unintentionally in the way of that person's comeuppance. And I keep seeing this happen with people's businesses. Another business in another state either had to shut down or they ended up getting really bad reviews on Yelp and things like that because they were going to host Umar, and it ruined the business's reputation. I know another business, there was a barbershop that apparently Umar was lying. Maybe he wasn't lying, I don't know. But basically they were saying that he said Umar or somebody had announced that he was going to be at this barbershop, and then the barbershop came out and was like, we never said that, like, we're not having that man over here. Now, it could be that they did agree, but then once people started calling in and threatening to not support them and write bad reviews, they may have gone back on their offer and were like, we don't know this nigga. But what they did, I believe, is smart, because they saw that they were about to get their asses handed to them by whatever this dude did to people from the past, and they chose to avoid taking the brunt of this man's karma. I think they were absolutely right and smart in that. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth to be somebody's damn scapegoat who, you have nothing to do with. You can barely gain from it and can only, potentially lose. That was the intelligent thing to do, in my opinion, was to just separate yourself from this character. Now, like I said, a lot of people are saying that people shouldn't even be calling these businesses because his book signings and stuff like that have nothing to do with the donations and the school, issue. People are making lots of excuses for why people should not call this place, these businesses, why people should not mess up Umar's bag. I personally wouldn't do these types of things. I personally would actually just ignore this person and his fans, because I feel like a lot of these haters, or whatever you guys to call them, bring him more attention. They are kind of keeping him relevant. But at the same time, I understand why some people do it, because a lot of people say Black people never stand up for complaining about others in their community, not gatekeeping properly, not calling out people who do wrong. So it's like, now people are calling out this person's doing wrong. Maybe some are doing it obsessively, maybe some are doing it crazily, but to me, that's kind of making up for all the people who have sat around and done absolutely nothing about this. I think this is a good way to at least start cleaning up your community and cleaning up the people who are scamming and just taking advantage of your community. This is a lot of money that could have done many other things. There are many other people who have started schools with 1/10, 1/100th of what he's been given, and these schools are still running now. Black owned, Black run schools for Black children. So he could have easily done this 1,000 times over. If he has no problem telling his audience to loot, vandalize, dox people, harass them, pull up on his detractors or anybody who says anything about them, but then he should be able to take that shit. And like I said, I'm sorry that there's collateral damage with these businesses, but damn, can people just unify one time on one person that's bad at once, instead of just like little pockets of people doing it over time? These are types of things that happen to people like R. Kelly, other kinds of predators, where it's like no one ever comes together and says, this person sucks, let's get them out of our environment, and that's why these things are happening to these other innocent businesses. They are choosing to absorb his karma once they choose to partner up with him, is my bottom line. And so they need to know what they're getting into, and I'm sure these anti-fraud people immediately let them know what they're getting themselves into when they partner up with somebody like Umar. Also, there have been so many expose videos about this dude over the past couple years. There's no way, if you use the internet and even know who this guy is, to let him into your, place of business to do his own business, that you don't know what people have been saying about him. Why would you even want to host somebody who has victimized so many people in the Black community, so many Black women and children, in that community? Like, why would you even want to do that? And for the people who say like, oh, I'm gonna stop talking about this guy because I don't want to down another Black man, I don't understand what that means really, because it's like not all skin folk are kinfolk. Like, if there is somebody who is victimizing multiple people in the Black community and draining and parasiting off of the poorest people in the Black community's money, how does that even qualify them as a Black man? Because of his skin tone, because of his features? To me, being a part of a community is not just a way you look. It's like your participation in that community, your presence in that community, how you're affecting that place, that the people in that community. So to me, he's not kinfolk whatsoever. So it's like, what do you mean? Like, I don't want to talk bad on a Black man. Well, if he's doing bad things, why not? It's just this logic that's always like very defeating and just hypocritical, in my opinion. You know, you want to talk about the white man and all those things that he does, but it's like a lot of them aren't the ones doing this stuff that's hurting the Black community right now. Why don't you deal with what's actually happening right now in your community? People don't want to hear that shit though, you know? You know, to the people, the just average detractors who aren't always just Umar focused, but then because of their popularity and because of how right they are, where's my other pocket? With what they say about him, it seems like the people who are very logical about what they say about Umar Johnson get a lot of hate, you know, because people hate the truth. Like a lot of people these days hate truth, especially if you're with somebody who's lying, fraudulent. You're gonna hate the truth because it just proves that your person that you're idolizing is full of crap. People like Humble King or whatever, you know, I see like he's gotten a lot of harassment from certain fans of Umar Johnson, almost like trying to guilt him into feeling like he should feel badly for saying where this Atlanta location was for his meet and greet. Don't feel badly at all, because that has nothing to do with you. You didn't do anything. You didn't threaten to do anything. They probably did. That business, unfortunately, is just reaping a part of what Umar sowed due to their partnership, to their linking up with him, you know, you need to be careful who you link up with, because like I said, you don't know what's coming down the line for that person. You don't want to be with that person when that shit happens. Or if you don't mind the possible consequences, then go on ahead, you know. But this person's been a menace to the Black community for over a decade. What do you expect? You know, you should expect anything to happen because of this. These, you know, if somebody screwed over tons of people, you know that they'll be looking over your shoulder every minute. He does it all the time in his videos, so obviously you need to look over your shoulder too. You know, you should expect the worst. I think there's a high chance that, you know, somebody from his department could have done it, you know, that he told them to do, or that thought would be a good idea, just to silence his detractors, to his rational, you know, people who comment rationally about what's going on with him. I would not be surprised. And even, you know, even if she's in on it too, like she allowed them to do this type of thing to them, you know, to her building, to be able to fight their detractors and play dirty. Now you're in some kind of, you know, insurance fraud type stuff, but potentially because you're hanging out with sketch ass people. So either way, you're pretty much losing. You not magically have that much hate, especially when you had so much love at one point. You know, like everybody is forgivable, uncancelable at this point in time. So for so many people to just be like that much done with you, to have thousands of videos out against you, you've obviously burned a lot of bridges and made a lot of mistakes. I think a lesson, not just for this one person, this is just in general. And that's why you have to be careful who you align with in general, in any way, whether it's intimately, friendship, partnerships. You have to find out whether this person has burned bridges that you might need later, or that you don't want to be burnt. Because once you get with that person, especially on an intimate or on a heavily business level, you're also accepting their debt and their problems that come with them, because you're going to be with them in that area when those shots go off, or when that tsunami of karma comes. Gotta be careful, man. It's rough in these streets. See y'all later. That's it.